Be on time. It might be that the business isn't on time to meet you, and it's awful when that happens, but sometimes it does. But if you're on time, that's really important. I also think that even in creative businesses where the dress code is casual a lot of the time, it doesn't hurt to be smart. And some people don't really mind about that, but I think you only have one opportunity to sell yourself. And the whole adage, which, you know, you only get one opportunity to create a first impression, I think is really true. And, you know, if you get the job and great, then you know kind of how to dress and what works. But I think, you know, if you, not necessarily a suit, but if you just want to dress up a little bit that gives that air of, I'm confident, I know what I want to tell these people, and and also for you to find out whether you want to work in that business. And if you can't answer a question, just say that you don't have the answer right now. It doesn't matter. Don't think that you've got to sit there through a really awful silence. I've had that before, and I found myself just saying, it's all right, we'll come back to that if we need to, but we'll just move on. Because that's awful when people think, mind blank, I can't do it. And it's just, you feel for them. So embarrassing. Do you know the thing that turns everybody off, and it's really a wet handshake? That handshake business is big business. People will remember you by that. If they've seen 20 people in a day for the same job, which can happen here, if somebody has just had that really wet lettuce thing going on and they're all a bit clammy and it's just a bit they go, oh, was that the one with the really awful handshake? And won't remember you by you, will remember you by that action. And so that's an example of the handshake. And you don't want a bone-crushing one either, but I think it's just something that is a confident, hello, nice to meet you. But people will remember when that hasn't worked so well. And there is a certain kind of person that won't trust somebody who can't shake a hand properly. That's not me, but they've said it to me. People who've said it before, who I've interviewed with, oh no, particularly salespeople. If a scent is too overpowering to the point where you leave the office and you can go back in and it's still really in there and strong, it's too much. It can be really distracting. And equally it can if actually body odour generally. And you know, there's just so one thing being clean, presentable, but too strong, and another being maybe a little bit grubby, not so clean and not so presentable. That is a complete turn off. If you can't keep eye contact, and keep eye contact comfortably, so not staring somebody out the whole time, or if you're darting around looking at the floor, or you're shaking, or you're sweating, or you're looking around and knees going and the feet are going, it's far too distracting, and you think, is this person all right, or are they going to have a little meltdown in a minute? Because if they do, it's going to be quite distracting from the whole kind of, all you want to do is have a chat about you and why you're interested in the job. So no t-shirts. I just think that it's worth putting an effort in to look smart for an interview. And it might be that a full-on suit isn't necessarily appropriate depending on where you're going. But I do think that it's important that you're not coming in shorts and trainers, which has happened as well, that, you know, you've got a smartish pair of trousers on and a shirt, and that you wear some socks with your shoes. So if somebody was wearing a garish pair of socks, but the rest of the person was dressed kind of appropriately, it wouldn't make me say no in an interview situation, and could be a memorable and talking point further down the line. I think, as I was saying before, as long as they don't come in dressed like Timmy Mallet, it's fine. Sometimes it can be really off-putting when somebody comes in and teetering on the heels, can hardly walk, and I think it's because they think it's being smart in their appearance, when actually it can sometimes give the opposite effect. No confidence in your walking because you're worried you're going to topple over, pencil skirt that maybe is a little bit too short, and if that's matching a lower cleavage which is showing too much, I just think you haven't really thought about how you come across. In an interview situation, I think the thing that drives me mad if somebody talks at and over me and doesn't listen. So I'm in the middle of getting my point across and somebody will interrupt, and then I'll ask a question and they won't understand the question and then get cross that they can't answer the question. That to me is when the interview needs to wrap up, because I just think if you can't listen and understand or ask intelligent questions, then we've kind of fallen at the first hurdle. So if I was saying to a candidate, do you have any questions? What am I expecting them to ask me? I normally summarise. So I would normally say, right, so today we've talked about the role, we've talked about who you would report to, we haven't covered the salary, but you might cover that with the agency. So I would do the summary and say, after all of that, is there anything else that you thought you wanted to ask when you came in that you haven't or need to? Usually it's a no, and that doesn't matter. But if it's a yes, and actually they do get into, and what is the salary, and what are the benefits, and will I get overtime, and what are the start and finish times, and all the rest of it, that's off-putting. Because to me it's about the conversation and dialogue about the job, and that's just detail that gets sorted out afterwards. And it always makes me think that somebody's going to be a little bit of a job's worth when they come in and go, but you said the start time was 9 o'clock and I need to start at 9:30, you know, and and is there, well, if there's overtime, I can only work until 5:30, not 6. No. I quite like when people say, what do you like about working here? Or how long have you been here and what do you enjoy about it? Or, you know, how would you describe the environment or the people? And generally I would have covered that at some point because I care about where I work and enjoy what I do. But if somebody's asking me that just to get a feel and a vibe for the place, I think that's an intelligent question.